How's it going, guys? Welcome back to more Katawa Shoujo. In the previous part, I have no idea what happened in the last part. No, wait, yeah, I do. It's when Lilly leaves. Leaving the campus, really. And recently, just to give you guys an update, I just recently got a new stand. Hopefully it's much more better. Brandon says I sound a lot different. So, if it does, then I'm sorry. It's just trying to get used to this new stand and a pop filter and everything like that. But anyways, so why don't we just load it and let's quickly go through this. False candons. It is loud once again. I'm gonna load that down. The snap of my mobile. Wow, that's a good start. My mobile phone's closing contrasts with the ambient chatter and noise audible even in the hallway outside the library. It's the first day of the summer holidays, a time that had perpetually seemed so far away, and yet it's now not only here but also made painfully obvious by the students, or lack thereof, left in the school. Most students have returned home to spend the holidays with relatives by now. The few that are left are mostly chatting between themselves, usually about what they intend to do in the coming weeks. It makes me feel like the odd one out for taking advantage of the school library being open for the first several days of the holidays. There's a cat. There's cats outside. I hate my neighborhood with cats. I hope when I'm older I move into a neighborhood with no cats in there. Literally, these cats are really obnoxious. Ostensibly, it's for students to drop off any books they've borrowed and have yet to return, and for those who will have their parents pick them up to help pass the time until they get whisked away. Thanks to the recent lengthy phone call from my parents, which had so rudely woken me from my sleeping on a beanbag at the back of the library, I'm now in the latter category. Sliding my phone back into my pocket, this time remembering to set it to silent. Wow, good job, jerk. I go back into the quiet and woolly placid room. It's a nostalgic sight. Just as when Lilly first led me to the library, the orange tint of sunset bathes the room in its light, while Hanako sits on a beanbag silently reading and Yuko fusses, just barely visible behind the counter. Hanako especially has been noticeably more quiet than usual since yesterday's happenings, but I can't really blame her. It wasn't just me that depended on that person after all. Yeah, stop thinking about yourself, dumbass. I quietly walked back to the beanbag near her, where I'd sat before, being doubly careful not to make any unnecessary noise. The soft puff it gives as the bag takes my weight makes Hanako's eyes flick towards me, but only for a second. I get the feeling that Hanako's been quiet only partly out of sadness following Lilly's departure. Rather, she seems more thoughtful and measured than I expected, perhaps due to her desire of working out how to deal with Lilly's leaving rather than just being depressed over it. It makes me a little proud of her. Hey Hanako. Yeah? Still going ahead with your idea of traveling? She gives a determined nod. I'll be starting in a day or two. Naomi's decided to come with me too. Wow, quick start. Where are you two headed to first? Wow, you said two. Never mind. I think we're going to start by going north, then loop down and go southward. That's going to be a long trip. So Hokkaido's going to be first? She gives another nod, more tentative than the last. The significance of that place is not lost on either of us. Do you know how you're going to handle the travel expenses and accommodations? Yeah, I've worked everything out. I think it should be okay. Naomi says she has her side worked out too. You know that if you need anything you can just call, right? I gave you my number before. Any time of the day is fine. Okay, I was gonna say I saw like this small transition of like her smile. I was like, okay. I was just kind of thinking about it. She gives a smile, which in itself feels like a small personal victory. I know. Thanks, Hisao. Maybe Lilly was right. Although I may offer Hanako any help I can possibly give, I feel as if I know she doesn't need it. She really has grown. What is she, your daughter? She's your daughter all of a sudden. What the really? Hanako's plans for her holidays are in sharp contrast to my simple following of my parents' suggestion to stay with them. Holidays had always made me feel less excited than most, though, so maybe this is just a return to the status quo. Before my heart attack, I'd always lived so aimlessly that holidays weren't all that much different from my everyday life anyway. After school, I'd wander around a bit in the city, often hanging out with some friends, before making my way home to eat dinner with usually one of my parents, but rarely both. Their work schedules didn't leave much time for them to be home, and going there straight from school would just have meant I'd end up feeling bored. I was an urbanite through and through. Since coming to Yamaku though, it feels like I've fundamentally changed as a person. The phone call with my parents erased any traces of doubt I might have held on that in any case. While before I had exercised a fairly normal level of independence for a teenager, that being not a whole lot, my parents were more than pleased to hear of my newfound ability of taking care of myself. Congratulations, you took care of yourself. Partially. Laundry, cooking for myself, I don't remember you cooking for yourself. All in addition to other general chores that come from living without parents around. Just little menial things I've had to pick up, but with relative ease. When I think about it, I'd always depended on them, even if they hadn't been at home all the time. To say I never depended on anyone after moving to the Yamaku dormitories would be far from the truth though. Excuse me? Oh, fuck. The two of us look up at the awkwardly fidgeting figure in front of us. Some things never change. It's getting close to closing time, so, alright, I've forgotten that the library closes earlier during the holidays. Hanako and I both get up and dust ourselves off, placing our books back on the shelf behind us. Wait, that was the shelf? Oh, wait, yeah. The fact that our taste in reading material art have a fair amount of overlap is useful at times. With a bow to Yuko to apologize for taking so much time, Hanako takes her leave of us. See you tomorrow, Hisao. Bye. And with that, she walks out of the large wooden aging doors that herald the entrance to the holidays, to the library. She's a quiet person, isn't she? Whoops, did I mean to do that? That was a long time I accidentally pressed right click. I suppose I should be surprised at a staff member sharing personal opinions like this, but after knowing Yuka for a while, it's largely expected. Our relationship is more personal rather than one with her acting as an authority figure. Yeah, I think that's just how she is. She's got a lot more confidence in herself these days though. I don't know her as well as you do, but I think I agree. It's nice to see her talking to people here. She never used to do that before. Yeah, Yuko, you know about Lilly's leaving, right? She told me herself a few days ago. It must be hard, leaving everyone behind like she is. She quickly looks back to me after she says this, probably remembering that I went to her for advice on the relationship between Lilly and I before. Oh boy, are you going to be okay? That's a difficult question. It's something I'd rather not think about for now, though, given more pressing issues. Something seems kind of off about this whole deal, don't you think? Yuko appears to think for a while, absent-mindedly scrunching her face up in a variety of creative ways as she does so. I don't think I really know her well enough to make that kind of judgment. Well, maybe judgment isn't much of your thing. I'm sorry I can't be more help. No, that's fine, I'm just sort of thinking aloud. I give a deep sigh and scratch my head in frustration. There's just so much stuff happening at once that I have no control over. It feels like I'm being swamped. I think everyone goes through times like that. What's important is to concentrate on what you can do, rather than what you can't do. At least, that's how I see it. If I didn't think like that, I don't think I'd be able to manage my life as it is. She says it with a smile and a light tone, but her words are far from any kind of joke. Being pulled between two jobs as she is, just to hopefully make enough money not only to live but also for university, must be exhausting. Perhaps that's why coming from her, this feels like it has more meaning than if it had come from most others. I guess you've got a point there. Thank you for your advice once again, Yuko. She bows deeply and smiles again, before making her way back to the counter where she spends so much of her time. Oh boy, you're in your room again. The tiny wings of the cardboard crane in my fingers are only just visible in the dim light of my room. Just a little of the moonlight being able to peek through the curtains and around their edges. Huh. Hey, look, your hand! Ugh. I lie still in my dark bed for a long time, idly looking up at the little origami bird. I remember that. You freaking took that from like a garbage thing, like a plastic thing, whatever. Like garbage, technically. It feels like a lot's happened since Lilly folded this, but at the same time it feels like very little has changed. Compared to everyone else, I'm back to square one. I might have a newfound idea of where I want to go in life, but that's hardly something that affects me now. Hanako changed. I know that. If anything, shut up, Train! If anything, she just makes me feel like I've got no excuse to be like this, considering her previous situation. God dang! Lilly, though. I turned the bird to my fingers another way, looking at it from yet another angle. Wait, what? When I first met her, she seemed aloof and perhaps somewhat distant. Her actions were... I'm gonna be quiet until this train passes by. Being obnoxious, be like, "Nyeh!" You done? Okay, you're faintly going away. Are you finished? Train. Okay, the train's finished. Her actions were always careful, measured, and precise, and her carefully maintained composure always gave the appearance of unerring confidence and serenity. In time, she became less formal, just a bit, but enough. It felt good to see her lowering her inhibitions. Shit. It sounds like I'm saying inhibitions. Oh, there we go. Around me and opening up, even just a little, of her own accord. It felt as if I was seeing her real self slowly becoming more vibrant and visible. Now though, I'm beginning to have doubts. Perhaps they're to be expected after what is, effectively, the two of us breaking up. They don't feel new or strange though, but rather like an old book being found and dusted off. I soon realized after meeting Lilly that she saw me as she did Hanako, as someone she needed help and care. At first I simply thought that we'd be fine as friends, helping each other through our limited time together in school. But then I began to treasure our moments together more and more quiet walks to our talking over lunch. The good sides of her personality became ever more obvious and more likable. Ever more likable. Jeez, I can't even read properly. The absence caused by Lily's trip to Scotland to visit her long-distant family and sick aunt only made me realize how much I liked just being around her, and I had thought that she felt in a similar way. For her though, maybe that wasn't everything to our relationship. Even after she returned to Japan, that just meant she lost her family once again, after meeting them for such a brief time. She lived so much of her life without her family around, not to mention that with Akira working long hours, that she had little choice but to do like that. I had thought her sense of independence to be a good and admirable trait. It was in stark difference to my reliance on my parents before my heart attack, as reluctant as I may have been to admit it. Well, you are much of an elected person, actually. However, it has also meant that she never let people get too close to her. She lost her family likely due to her blindness, went to a different school from anybody she knew because of it, and worked all the harder to make sure she didn't end up a burden on her sister and those around her. And now Akira is going through Inverness, just like the family she thought she'd lost. She never told me of her plans, as conflicted as she was about them. Lily didn't want to be a burden on anyone, including me. I'm an idiot. Thank you! I never questioned it. I never tried to be there or asked when she needed me to. I just set my life up and expected it to stay that way forever, with the two of us having a nice long relationship where we pushed forwards towards our future together. A small pit of frustration and anger at myself wells up in my chest. I just let everything happen, never even trying to help Lilly. Just her being there was enough. I thought I could keep going on if that were true. But that could never have been enough. It was a childlike dependence on somebody without any attempt to understand or help their situation. Thanks to that, I lost Lilly. I lost the one person I loved most because I wasn't there for her when she needed me. Shit, you're in shit town now, man. I know how you feel. With an increasingly angry feeling washing over me, I turned over and set the crane back on the desk next to my clock, the place where it has lived since that day when she folded it for me. Since that day, when she herself said that my burdens needed be my own. The obnoxious bright red numerals of my alarm clock shine through the darkness of the room onto my tired eyes. 10 o'clock evening. Curfew will be soon. I wonder. Akira mentioned they'd be leaving this evening. I've no idea exactly when their flight is, but that means there's a chance, however small, that they might not have already left. Adrenaline starts to— oh no, you're gonna do something stupid. Adrenaline starts to move through my body as I sit up on my bed, my eyes suddenly wide with possibility. There's no guarantee they haven't left, indeed. It's likely that they already have, but there's also a chance they haven't, however small it may be. Just this once, just as I should have before. I stand up and rush over to my cabinet, throwing out some clothes as fast as I can and sliding them on in quick succession. Each second that goes by is a second that I can't regain. A second that may mean the difference between catching them and losing them forever. Even if I fail, I have to try. I can't let her leave everything behind without even trying to stop her. Without just this once being there for her. Fuck! I feel like the same— god damn it! I'm gonna do the same thing today! Are you kidding me? I'm gonna do the exact same thing today. What the hell? God damn, this game is screwing me over right now. With the last of my clothes slipped on, I hastily grabbed the phone off the desk. Luckily, the number of a local taxi company is still in my call history. A gruff, unenthusiastic voice announces the name of the company while I pace around the room. It takes some effort to slow down my voice and keep it clear over the phone. The chilly night air sweeps against me as I open the dormitory door, but nevertheless, I keep up my brisk speed as I half jog, half run out to the school gates. It may not be curfew just yet, but it's precariously close. If there were a guard around there, they'd no doubt have some questions for me, but it looks like I've managed to come out just before they arrive, or they're around a corner. My pace picks up as I make my way through the school gardens. Their nighttime allure all but lost when I begin to run to the school gate. Oh man, full on spit! The lamps of the courtyard, dim as they are, provide just enough illumination to light the way and prevent me from tripping over. The buildings themselves take on a rustic, almost antique-looking edge when I glance at them. Looking back, it seems strange that they once appeared so dark and looming to me. Now they just look to be somewhat anachronistic school buildings, the same as any others bar their age. Leaving the gates behind me, I pull up to a stop just before the taxi, parked just as Akira's car had been. Its gaudy and brightly lit sign looks out of place in the quiet country backdrop. I impatiently squeeze myself through the door, giving the driver the address for where the two should hopefully be staying. Alright, I'm gonna end it off here. This is like almost 20 minutes. But anyways, I'm glad— I don't know how to end it off now, because now my head's going through like, shit, what's gonna happen next? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm glad you guys enjoy Katawa Shoujo. But as always, I hope you guys have a great day. But this feeling, man, no, I can't handle all of this. Like, the worst part is, like, it's putting much more bigger impact to me because I went through Hanako's path, and Hanako's path stuck with me for like, it's been in my memory ever since until now. It's like, it's weird